All right, guys, we're on Big Brother Canada season finale. All right. Last time we had, what's her name? Helena going home after Josh used the veto on Betty, and Betty voting out Helena, making the final three: Josh, Betty, and Kevin. All right. It is a good choice, I think, for Josh to have those three in the final. If he can get to the end with Betty, he can definitely win. I think if he goes to the end with Kevin, Kevin has not pissed off the jury at all. Just because his moves were so secret that he didn't cause any sort of personal vendetta against him in any way. And Josh has definitely burned the jury, every single one. Because remember, in the beginning of the game, he had final twos with pretty much everyone in the game. So he basically burned all those people. That is just a terrible strategy to go in as. It's a good strategy to get you to the end and keep you safe, but terrible to win the game. It just doesn't work. But that's what he did. All right. So we come to this, and it's going to be, for the final, is going to be a three-part competition. The first competition, the winner of that one goes straight to the third competition. And the winner of the second competition goes to the third competition as well. And the winner of the third competition gets to decide who they want to take with it to the end with them. All right. All right, so let's get to the first one. All right, the first competition was a balancing act. All right, let me see if I can get a good picture of it. All right, all right, so basically it looks like this. As you can see right there, as Josh is balancing those discs on that pole right there, there's two stations. You have to go through an obstacle course. And from the first station, hold on. There you go. You have to go through an obstacle course from the first station. What is going on? Oh my God. Hate this. There we go. Why does it keep doing that? All right, so you have to go through an obstacle course from the first station to the next, and you have to collect two discs from each station, and you have to keep going back and forth until you get all 26 discs in order to win. And you can't drop it at any point. At first, when they started out, Betty was doing very well. She was the one ahead of everyone else. She was balancing pretty good, but it got down to the point where she started dropping as well. From the beginning, back and forth, Josh was dropping and Kevin was dropping. Kevin took the time to figure out how to balance his disc properly, and what he did was he staggered them. Each two, he staggered them off to the side rather than trying to balance them straight up and down, which is a strategy that I would use if I was doing that competition, because it gives you more leeway for if you lean too much, just because it's offset, as soon as you do that just the fact that it's offset, it will bounce back and forth. It gives you a little bit more room to bounce back and forth. Instead of when it's just straight up and down, you lean too much and the whole stack is going to one side. All right. So because of that, in the end, the winner of the first competition was, in fact, Kevin. All right. It's a win that he needed, and he freaking got it. All right. So he got to go straight to the third competition. All right. And the next competition was a trivia one. Right. It looks like this. It's a trivia competition, and it looks like this. There's basically going to be answers, and below those or above those answers, there's going to be like a platform. You got to toss these little bags. It's like a bag with a ball in it. You got to toss the bag on the bar in order to lock in your answer. All right, so it's a competition between Josh and Betty because Kevin is going all the way to the end. The competition started. Josh was going pretty good. He was going pretty fast, but he messed up on one question. He kept going back and forth, and he couldn't figure out where he messed up. And eventually, he figured it out, but that cost him a lot of time. You get to Betty. She was doing very well on the questions, but she couldn't land the bags on the platform. Eventually, she was able to do it, but it took her a while. She was messing up pretty bad. Eventually, she got it down, and she was killing it. But when it came down to see who won, Betty took 2 hours to finish. Josh took 34 minutes. I mean, Betty had a hot streak for a minute there. She was doing good. I'm rooting for her, and now she's going back to suck it. Even the last competition was critical for her. If Josh didn't win that, she could have gone home. She came in last. She took 35 minutes. She took 45 minutes. The closest person to her was, she took 42 minutes. The closest person to her was Kevin, and he took 35 minutes. Like, just disastrous in a row, which makes her great to take to the end with you. All right. So now it's going to be the final between Josh and Kevin, and right, it looks like this. All right, they already dressed for because it's the final. It's going to right after whoever wins this, they're going to choose to eliminate someone, and then they go straight to the end. So they already dressed for the finale right there, and it's going to be trivia questions back and forth. They went back and forth for a while. Josh was in the lead for a little bit, but then he missed one question, and they became tied. It went all the way down to a tiebreaker question, but they tied again, and it became sudden death with whoever comes closest to the answer. It was a question about time, how long did it take in minutes or something like that. But in the end, I think the answer was 8,000, and Kevin put 10,000 and Josh put 7,100. So Josh ended up winning the final, and he gets to choose who goes to the end with him. All right. He gets to choose. He goes down there, and he decided to choose Kevin. He evicted Betty because, like I said, great play by Kevin, because if you remember the last time, he was pitching to Josh that if Betty goes to the end, just based on her story alone, and she was an underdog, she might win. And that, I think that what cinched it for him, that got him to the end in this one, because Josh evicted Betty thinking that Betty can win against him, which no, hell no. He's been on the block more time than Betty. He survived the block more time than Betty. He's win more competition than Betty. It was the perfect person to take to the end with him. And Kevin played a completely different game from him. Kevin was a manipulator. Betty wasn't a manipulator. She could never claim what Kevin can claim. So she was perfect to go to the block with him, because when they stack up together, he wins. Because he did what she did, but better. But he chose to take Kevin. Not what I would have done, but that's what he chose to do. All right. All right. So they go to the end. Betty was upset. The jury asked him a bunch of questions. There was also an extra vote this season. There was, what is that, 8 jury members, but Canada also get to cast a vote for one of the nominees. All right. They brought back some of the older evicted house guests, and they revealed some of the lies that was going on this season. But it was stuff that we already seen before. Right, it got down to the vote, and they revealed the votes, and it was, the first vote was from Canada, and Canada voted for Kevin. The second vote, well, it doesn't matter. It was a unanimous vote for Kevin. Kevin won this season, like I thought he would if he took him to the end. And that's what Josh did. Josh went to the end with Kevin and didn't get a single vote. Just the worst play I've ever seen. He had it in the bag. He just had to take Betty. It was sad to see. But there ends Big Brother Canada season 10. So disappointing. So disappointing. But you know what? Kevin kind of deserved it, man. He played the hell out of the game. It was well done. Well done. Congratulations to him. Till next time.